Hey everybody, how you doing? Imp One Way here. This is Emma. Say hi.
Hey.
Forgotten X Gaming here on YouTube. We are going to be picking some teams today for MLB 16 The Show for our fantasy franchise series that we're going to be starting up here. I went through the comments. There was a couple comments on the video itself, and I got one private message for a team as well. And then I had my wife pick a team, and then my daughter picked a team, and then of course I picked my own team that I like as well to throw into a hat. And it's my son's hat. We couldn't find another hat for now. And we wrote them on papers. We threw them in a hat. Emma's going to pick it out for us. The teams that went into the hat are the Mariners, the Yankees, the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, the White Sox. That's who she picked. I don't know where she got that from. And the Marlins. And we're going to go ahead and pick them out. What we're going to do is going to pick out 3 teams. And then we're going to take those 3, throw them back into the hat, and we're going to pick one from that to kind of make it as fair as possible for the picking of the team. All right, so go ahead. I'm going to pick 3 papers out of the hat and put on the desk. 2. And 3. Is that 3?
Mm-hmm.
Count them up for me.
1, 2, 3.
Excellent. Should we look at the teams, or should we just throw them back into the hat?
We should look at the teams.
We should look at the teams, right? Okay, so I dumped out the other teams. They're gone from the hat, and we just have the 3 that are left here. So let's open them up and read them. Hold on. Let's see what we got. So we got the White Sox, who she picked. That's good. And we got the Yankees, who I picked. And then we have the Marlins. Okay. So Marlins and White Sox and Yankees are going to go back into the hat. We're going to shake it up. I don't know if that's going to really do anything. We're going to shake it up. And Emma's going to pick out one more. Pick one paper out of the hat. That's going to be our team. Hold it up for the camera to see. Okay, now open it up. And let's read the name inside.
It's White Sox.
It's the White Sox. All right, look at that. White Sox. So we know that was her team that she wanted. Like I said, don't know where she came with it. And dudes, she's 3, and she read that. White Sox. How you like that? That's what I'm talking about right there. She's going to outsmart her dad someday. But that's what it's all about. So we're going to head and jump into the actual pick of the team and the draft after that. And see what we do, all right? See how we do. Thanks, guys. And I'll see you on the flip side.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was cool.
So we are now going to go in and jump here to the actual pick of the franchise. Before we get into the draft here, we're going to just get things set up to go for this new series here on Got Next Gaming. We are ready to go. I'm excited. We're going to do normal current rosters, so all the attributes and ratings will be updated as well. We're going to go in and pick up our team, get the White Sox here. We'll choose them and move forward with that. We'll advance. You see that they're ranked 10th so far. Pretty good hitting team, pretty good pitching team. But that's going to change as we go into there and take over things and just kind of draft an entirely different team. We're going to go ahead and put our settings on and turn on the fantasy draft. We're going to leave everything else alone. Not necessary here for us to get crazy in messing with these settings too much. We just want to turn on fantasy draft, basically, and our GM contract to see if we can stay with the team as long as possible. We're going to jump into the draft here. I will try my best to explain my picks as I go if I have the opportunity. It kind of goes a little fast as I do a bunch of editing to keep it as consolidated and as short as possible. We get the 11th pick here in the first round. So this is round 1. We have the 11th pick, and then we'll get the 20th pick in the next round as it kind of goes like a round robin, I guess is what it's called. But with our first pick here, super tempting. Josh Donaldson sitting up there with a 95 overall, the third baseman from Toronto, who is a complete beast on that team at 30 years old. But I definitely want to build around pitching and probably fielding. I want a good fielding team as well. So the pick here for me was quite easy at this point, and I just went with Chris Sale, great starting pitcher, currently in the league as he has been playing very, very well.
With our next pick, we are probably going to go the same route and again do pitcher. We're going to stick to the pitching idea here for a little bit, only so that we can, like I said, build a foundation of pitching. And I think you'll see throughout that I kind of go for the whole pitching idea, so to speak. I do not go for Tanaka at the top of the list, who is the best pitcher here. Probably a little bit of a question mark with Jordan Zimmerman, but I like his makeup. And he's young, so we got two good young pitchers at the start of this. And now we're going to go and pick ourselves a good reliever. And I think that Andrew Miller is a better pick than Dylan Betances, even though Betances is a little bit younger. And you'll see a little bit later on why I picked Andrew Miller. I'll explain that. Jonathan Villar, shortstop here, great shortstop, great young shortstop, and a great leadoff man for the Brewers currently. And I'm picking him early to get my first position player to be my leadoff man as well. We're going to start off from the top and work our way down, I guess, for the most part. But I kind of panicked a little bit here with this pick, is going for Salvador Perez, the catcher, because the quality of catchers on the board there weren't so great. So I jumped in and got the catcher right away. And then here I'm looking for another position player. And Starlin Castro is on the Yankees, and Yankees are my favorite team. And I'm loving what he's bringing to the table this year. And you look at his wheel there, which I love the way they do that. Makes it really easy to kind of look and see what the guy's makeup is. I draft him because I just like the way he looks, and he's young, and he should be able to develop quite well. Now we need a third baseman, and again, third basemans are looking a little slim, and I kind of might have been in a little bit of a panic mode here to pick myself up a third baseman, and did so in Anthony Rendon. He's on the Nationals, pretty good upcoming third baseman as well, as he should develop quite well as he is on the right side of 30. Now we need ourselves a right fielder, and even though SLP is considered a stud, his stats here, I guess he's not having that great of a season, haven't really looked, but he's a 79 overall, and he's 25 years old. He can definitely develop. Should be a good hitter. Can't pass up on him as a right fielder, especially at this point, without a doubt, as he looks better than anybody else that I figured or saw out there. I went back and forth here with the center fielder for a long, long time. I finally landed on Juan Lagares. I just like his makeup, and he's 27 years old, so he's nice and young. Should serve us well in developing him too, again, on the right side of 30, trying to keep it as young as possible. Here, not much left in the first baseman department. There are quite a few good hitters. Mark Teixeira is always tempting, but he gets hurt a lot, so I went with Colabello there instead, and he's a good hitter as well, and 32 years old, a little bit older on that side. Here, I just was looking for another good relief pitcher, somebody with a high rating, and I took the youngest guy I could find at the moment, which was 38, in Benoit. And kind of ignored the relief pitching for a little bit there. But then now I'm going to go back and I'm going to grab a little bit more veteran presence in Victor Martinez. At this point, I think he was a little bit of a steal in the 12th round to get him. So we take a quick look to see what we've drafted so far. And now we're going to move on in and get ourselves a left fielder. I like Kendrick. I like the way he looks. He's young, 26 years old. We can develop him into a pretty good left fielder, I'm sure, going down the road if we focus on his training properly. And he should be able to be a good outfielder for the future as well. Now we're back into, I think, starting pitcher here. We're going to pick up John Lackey, good veteran presence. He's 37 years old, and probably a good pick at this point as well for us, as there were other choices, but something that we definitely needed. Here, I don't know, it might have been a desperation move at this point because I had no closing pitcher on the roster, any kind of closing pitcher at all. I just think I just picked the closing pitcher just to have one because I was trying to fill out all the spots, all the spots on the roster with at least one guy before I started picking for like the future and filling out the starting rotation and things like that. Another relief pitcher for us here. I went with Alex Torres as I like his makeup, and again, another young guy that we can continue to develop moving forward. We are looking here. I think I'm going starting pitcher here. I'm not exactly sure. Was it relief pitcher? We'll have to see where I was at this point. And I think I just went for the best overall on the board. And yeah, that's exactly what I did in picking Yohara there. 41 years old, probably 1 year, but he's a solid relief pitcher even at this stage of his career. So now we're going to be looking again and I got some decisions to make here as far as like what do we want to do, pitcher or position player. And I decided to pick up Coco Crisp here as a left fielder for fielding reasons here. As at this point in the 18th round, it was probably a good pick and a little bit of a steal, as he's got a decent bat as well. Now we're into round 19 here, and I think we have to build on some of our position players and get some bench depth, I guess. And Domingo Santana looks pretty good, young, and something we can develop going forward. And with this one, I think I was kind of confused at this point and didn't realize that I had just taken a right fielder, but I went for another one because I saw this guy out here with some pretty good power numbers at 22 years old and figured it was something, again, that we can develop going forward as a power hitter for us. And, yeah, 2 right fielders in a row wasn't exactly what I was planning for, but seemed to work out that way. Here I kind of dabbled back and forth a little bit, looking to get myself a 4th and 5th starter, John Gray or Robbie Ray, and wound up with John Gray here, as he looked like he had the better makeup so far to this point at 24 years old, something we can definitely develop into probably a good starting pitcher. And here again, kind of just bouncing back and forth, trying to find the better choice. And it looked like T.J. House at this point was a good pick as well for us. So now we're getting into round 23, and things are wearing on, and it's starting to thin out a lot here for sure. But this is where I kind of simmed it ahead and let it take over for me and let it finish it out. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the roster and see how it does stack out eventually for us, as I let the computer pick pretty much my AA and my AAA teams for me. Actually, I think I made a couple more picks past that up until like pick 30 from 23, but didn't want to show all of that. Just kind of takes forever, as I was looking for some kind of blue chip prospects and things I can work with. Kind of like that Kurt Wise, the right fielder that I picked up, thinking it might be a piece that we can trade down the road if he develops nicely enough for whatever needs we might have going forward. But you can see here my starting pitchers and my relief pitchers as well. And looking pretty decent. I'll show you the breakdown of the lineups and everything getting a little further on here. Just kind of wanted to go through and show what we had here. Some pretty good prospects. Luis Rivera, 19 with a B potential. Looks like something we can definitely work with going forward in developing him as well. And David Dorda, another B potential at 25 years old, something we might be able to develop too. Not much more there in that regard, but this Herbert Medley at the bottom. Then we have our closing pitchers here. It looks like Gavin Vela might be a decent guy that we could develop into a closing pitcher going forward at 19 years old with a 73 overall. I have A.J. Brzezinski on the club as well here as a backup catcher, and he's an A potential, a little bit older, 39 years old, but still a very serviceable catcher. Definitely a good backup to Perez for us, and we have a whole bunch of other catchers that I did not pick, but that is what it is. There's Victor Martinez and Colabello, both on the roster. Martinez will probably serve as a DH mostly. They have Starlin Castro there. My other picks not really thrilled about, except for McElroy, there. 22 years old, a B potential, something we can definitely develop or even trade away if we needed to, as I like starting Castro for the foreseeable future. There's Rendon and Villar, both guys that we're going to probably build around for the foreseeable future. There's Andrew Romine, who's 30 years old and 68. I believe he's actually in the majors, and now he's on a AAA team here. This was interesting, as Kendrick, our first pick for left field, is now on the AAA team, as we picked up Coco Crisp later on, and he's actually going to be the starter and on the big club. And here we are with Lon Lagares in center. There's Alfonso Blanco. It's a pick that I made. It was a top 50 prospect, 23 years old, with an A potential. Definitely something to work with. And we got a couple of good potential picks here too. Like I said, the Santana and Kurt Wise, and then Albert Almora, rookie, 22 years old, with 63 overall and A potential. Definitely a piece that we can work with and potentially trade if we need to going forward to fit the needs or whatever we're missing here, whatever holes are missing for that. But we'll take a look at the lineup. You see Villar is definitely plugged into the number 1 spot, and there's Victor Martinez, probably our best hitter overall at the number 3 spot, with Colabello cleaning things up. Perez and Coco Crisp, Anthony Rendon, Starlin Castro, and Juan Lagares, all pretty decent hitters there at the bottom of the lineup. A couple of like platoon type situations that could happen there, but definitely a good looking lineup. Not that bad after all. said and done. I thought it would be a lot worse. Our strength here is definitely our pitching, as our top three are forced to be reckoned with, and we have two serviceable guys at 4 and 5 to work with and develop going forward into the future. We're going to move into our bullpen, and right away I'm going to make one quick switch here, and it was kind of my idea in the beginning all the way along, making Andrew Miller our closing pitcher, and we'll put Gomez in as a setup for now and see if we can't maybe do something with him, develop him, or maybe even replace him somewhere down the road. Quickly take a look at the managers. I don't touch any of this here. I leave it as it is for now. Wasn't thrilled with the hitting coach or the pitching coach, as their kind of attributes there kind of bring the team down, but that's something we'll focus on maybe in the next season. Here, I definitely want to focus on scouting and getting better prospects for the future, so I go ahead and I hire Aldo Henderson to take over, as he was the best prospect out there and quite costly, but definitely worth it, and he was within our budget anyway, so we might as well focus on scouting to potentially get us a much better pick. We're going to sim the spring training. We're not going to even bother looking at that or seeing how this team plays or pans out. I'm not really concerned about it or even interested in it. We definitely have to look at our sponsors, as we have a bunch of cards that I've picked up in kind of messing around with Diamond Dynasty on my own. Have not put it on the channel, as I do not know really how to put that together and show it in an interesting fashion. But we're going to use our 15,000 per game, and then we're going to go ahead and drop in here and pick up the Franklin sponsor for 20,000 per win, which will definitely help with our budget. And then the 2,000 per hit look like a pretty interesting one as well, as I think this team will get a lot of hits, so that should serve us well. We'll pick the Evo Shield one over the Oakley, whatever. Doesn't really matter. They're both the same there, and they're both a silver level. And I'll replace these and change them as I go and show you. Here's our current budget. 149 is the team revenue, and you can see the expenses there, as we are currently in the green for sure. We spent a lot of money on scouts, but that's okay. That's what we wanted to do. We can see what our future budget looks like. 117 this season, but 82 million next season, as we got Chris Sale for a couple of years, Jordan Zimmerman, and then we got some decisions to make with some of the older guys like Lackey and Yohara and Victor Martinez and whatnot, as we're going to try to find guys to replace them, and hopefully I did a good enough job in that. But this is how I'm going to play out the schedule as far as playing this team. I am definitely going to play the opening game of the season here with Oakland in Oakland. I'll play the home opener as well, and I will probably sim a lot of it and play key games and key series here and there, or at least the ones that look like interesting matchups, as I'm probably going to sim most of the first season just to see how the team does on its own, see how I did in drafting players for the most part. But that's really going to do it here, folks. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you'd like to see, if you can think of any trades I should make, ways to better the team and whatnot, and what you believe or what you think of the picks that I made as well. What would you have done in those situations, and let me know. But thanks for stopping by. I'll see you around the channel, and goodbye now.